annoys me so much, the number of students who are using AI in the least efficient way possible. A lot of people's default is to say, oh, I'm going to carry it into the exam hall, I'm just going to use it to research and cheat and all that. Some other people just put in their assignments straight into it and copy and paste and submit. But if you notice, none of those things are actually making your grades better. What if I told you there is a way to use ChatGPT to actually improve your grades? Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Catherine. I recently completed my bachelor's degree in psychology and now I make self-development content for the girls. When I was in uni, I was an average student and that hurts a lot, especially because I had been coming from where I was called gifted. Yeah, I was one of those gifted kids who always did well, who always did amazingly well in school and in other things. But when it came to university, I was super average and like I said, it hurts a lot. It particularly hurt because I knew I could do better. I knew I could do a lot better. And sure, like my grades weren't bad, I wasn't failing anything, right? But I wasn't getting straight A's, I wasn't in the first class, and I really wanted those things. But I couldn't figure out what the problem was because then I thought that I was doing my best. And so I settled with the fact that, okay, maybe I'm just an average person with like average grades. But that was until AI. I think that was in about 2022 when I first heard of ChatGPT and what ChatGPT could do. Oh my god, complete game changer, you guys, complete game changer since then. And that was actually when I had gotten into 300 level. And if anybody who's currently in uni would agree with me, 300 level is like the hardest year personally. Actually, I think that it's harder than final year for me. It was the hardest year and everything changed. My grades started getting better because I was taking advantage of ChatGPT. And no, I wasn't using it to cheat. I wasn't particularly using it. Well, I did use it to help with my assignments, but that's a different thing. Using ChatGPT and other AI apps and platforms definitely isn't the only thing that helps me improve my grades, but it is one of the major things that took me from getting 3.7 GPAs to 4.8 GPAs as of my very last semester. You see, one of the biggest problems that students have is that they never actually understand what they are being taught and just default to waiting till exams, waiting to test and cramming. And see, funny how I also cram too, right? But the thing about cramming is that when you cram something and you understand what you're actually trying to memorize, it helps a whole lot. The day I started to actually understand what I was studying was the day that my life changed. I began to understand things on a fundamental level. I understood concepts so deeply. They started to become relatable to me and I could see them play out in real life instances. Which is really why we're all going to uni in the first place, to be able to take what we learn and apply it in the real world. The problem is that most students can't do this, and this is why a lot of them fail in exams, and even when they leave school, they can barely do what they were supposed to have learned how to do in school. So because I understood concepts at a fundamental level and I really got it, when I was asked about those things, I could explain them properly. I could give instances, I could make them relatable, I could give real life examples of what that concept was and explain it so well in my tests and exams and assignments. The whole point of tests and exams, though now, is basically a memorization context, that I will agree on, but the fundamental point of exams is to ensure that you actually understood what you've been taught for weeks and months. And if you are able to show your lecturer that yes, I truly understood what I was being taught and I can apply it in the real world if I ever get a job or stuff like that, then they are more likely to give you higher marks because of it. If you're able to communicate that you actually understand this thing, you have a much better chance of getting a good grade. So now the major problem that I'm trying to communicate now lies in the fact of how do students get to understand what they're being taught? Because if we're being honest, if we left it to just the lectures that we have, we would hardly understand things, or the chances of actually understanding are greatly reduced. And now I know someone's going to say, oh, you probably just like after class, you just go and Google it and read up. That was definitely not the case because of two things. Number one, I don't like reading. Yes, I don't like reading. I mean, if it's not like a romance fiction book, there's a good chance I'm not reading it. I did not like reading at all. I barely did it, to be very honest. And two, let's even say I did like reading. Let's say I did like reading and studying and all of that. The concept that I would be researching on would probably be more difficult and more complicated in terms of the word used and the concept itself. So that was definitely not the solution. But here is where ChatGPT comes in. The long and short of it is that I used ChatGPT to better understand the concept. I turned ChatGPT into my personal tutor who broke down every single thing until I understood it at a fundamental level. And it's so unfortunate that a lot of people don't know how to do this or don't know that they can do this. I made ChatGPT explain it to me in a way that I was sure to understand. I made it give me examples and instances and reasons why and effects of all the different things that I knew I didn't understand by just reading or by just listening in class. This was a total game changer for me, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it yourself. So now I'm going to be showing you a live example of what I mean. So there's this course I actually took my last semester called behavior modification, and yeah, it literally means what it sounds like, learning how to modify and change people's behavior. Yeah, so there's this topic in behavior modification called causes of behavior development. Yeah, and I really hated this course, and it was actually the only course that I got B in last semester. Yes, I'm pained if you were wondering, So in courses of behavior development, there's this thing called a formal course, and it's even good that I'm using this course and this topic because I did not understand it when I first came across it, and now I've even forgotten. I really hated this course and this topic. So I'm going to be reading out what a formal course is, right? So you can see exactly what I mean. So it says formal causes. These types of causes are referred to as models, paradigms, equations, or formulas used to explain how behavior is acquired and maintained. In behavioral psychology, the matching law is an example. The formula states that relative responding matches the relative reinforcement produced by that responding. The matching law summarizes organisms' performance on a variety of schedules and reinforcements. So I don't know about you, but I did not understand a word of that, like, at all. Like, if you understood, great for you. Personally, I did not understand. I mean, it even goes down to explain the matching law formula, I guess. Yeah, I'm not getting a word of that. Now, what I literally did for this is that I go into ChatGPT. So I literally go into ChatGPT and I type out the concept and I ask it to explain to me. So for instance, I would say explain the concept of formal causes in causes of behavioral development in psychology. Then I would actually have to let it know to make the explanation super simple. That is the trick. You tell it how you want it to explain it to you. You could literally tell it, oh, explain it to me as though I were a 5-year-old, or you could tell it to break down the concept, give me examples. You can say it in a variety of ways, but it is important you are so specific, and it is important that you give it context also. Okay, so it's generated something. Let's try and read this. In psychology, formal causes refer to the idea that behavior develops based on certain patterns, rules, or designs. It's like saying that things happen in a certain way because they follow a specific form or structure, okay? Imagine you're building a house. The blueprint or design of the house tells you how it will look and how the rooms will be arranged. In the same way, formal causes are like the blueprint that shapes how someone's behavior develops. More examples. Schooling. In school, the curriculum is the formal cause, okay? It's a structured plan that helps shape how a student learns and behaves over time. Another example. A basketball game has specific rules, formal cause. These rules guide how players behave on the court, like where they can go and what they can do. In simple terms, formal causes help explain why we do things in a certain way because of a set plan, design, or structure we follow. Tell me that is not a lot better than what I had initially read. Like, it literally broke it down, gave me 3 different examples and instances of how it's gonna make sense. Now, maybe you may not also understand it right now because you're not a psychology student or a psychologist also, but you can put this in whatever context you have to. It made it super easy, and I just asked it to explain in super simple terms. This thing changed my life, like, literally, because I now understand, and because I have the examples of a building plan or like a school curriculum. When they ask me about it, I am able to explain it in a way that makes sense. Of course, I will need to use more should I say mature lingo when writing an exam. Like, I need to present the information in a professional manner, in a structured manner, but the point is that I do understand the concept, and combining it with proper ways to write an exam and proper ways to answer a question and knowing how to use the right words, my answer is going to be correct and it's going to be good, and the lecturer is going to be able to tell that I fully understand what I'm supposed to understand. Another really cool way of doing this is by simply copying and pasting the text or the paragraph that you actually don't understand. You just copy it and you paste it into ChatGPT and you tell it to explain it to you in more simpler terms like I did, or you can tell it to give you relatable examples to help you understand. So I'm going to do that with another example. Okay, so right under formal causes, there's a subtopic called Skinner's operant conditioning model. This one is a bit easier to understand, at least it was for me, but I think we should just use something different so I can show you what I mean. So all I'm going to do is just copy and paste. Let's just do this whole thing. I want to show you how crazy this is. Like, I don't think it matters how long it is. I didn't even read it, but let's just copy this. We're going to go to ChatGPT and I'm just going to type in explain the following in simple and relatable terms with relevant real life examples. I think this is the best way, honestly speaking. And then you just put a quotation and paste, literally, bro, and you just tell it to explain. Okay, so it's done generating, and I know we didn't read the paragraph initially, but just based off this, it says operant conditioning is a way of learning where people or animals learn to repeat behaviors that bring rewards and avoid behaviors that bring punishments. That is so simple and so straightforward. Like, how will you read this and then you will not understand? How do you get these concepts in this very simple way and then fail your exam? It's literally not possible. And so it goes on to give examples, relatable examples, like how imagine you have a dog and you're trying to teach it to sit. Every time the dog sits, you give it a treat. The treat is a reward. So the dog learns that sitting gets it something good. Over time, the dog will sit more often because it knows sitting leads to a reward. Such a simple real life example. It talks about school and work and all these other things that I don't need to get into details about that. But I hope you guys can see what I'm saying. The whole point of this is that you need to understand your schoolwork. Like, cramming is like fine, but even cramming can be a lot better. Although I'm not encouraging anybody to cram, even though I also crammed a lot in school. But even if you want to cram, you can cram better when you understand the concept itself. When you fully understand the concept itself, you are able to answer questions about the concept properly and put in as much detail as is required to get you your good grade. And you can do that with the help of ChatGPT. You can tell ChatGPT to do anything. AI is such a powerful tool. And the fact that we currently have this for free, I don't know why more people are not taking advantage of it. I don't know how long it's going to be free, but it might not be soon. Take advantage of it now. You can turn it into anything that you want it to be for you, especially a tutor if you are in school. And this doesn't just apply to university, it applies to any other thing, any other concept. If you come across something that you do not understand, you can literally tell ChatGPT, Snap AI, Meta AI, whatever it is, any AI, to explain it for you in a way you'll be able to understand. So that's really it from me on this issue. I will be making another video about all the other things that I used to get me a 4.8 GPA. There's so many tips. God, I love talking about this stuff. I'm such a nerd sometimes. But yes, I'll be making another in-depth video. You don't want to miss this, so make sure you subscribe and turn on your notification. If you're a student, I think you should go check out my students playlists. I'll link it on the screen. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.